section. Welcome back, everybody, to A Coming of Age, the podcast, coming of age. That sweet voice that you hear right now, yeah, I'm taking all of Zam's notes right now, is Mr. Frankness. Zam is still on a little bit of a vacation. Well, I wish my boy the best of luck. I miss you. But until you come back, baby, I got to hold the show down. That's just how we do. So we are here again this week, fresh off of Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And this week, I got a guest for you because I was going to ride a solo, but I'm like, you guys don't want to hear me for a full hour. You guys don't deserve that. You got to get a little something else in there, right? So I'm going to welcome my very good and humble friend, Mr. Jason Balewski. How's it going, Jason?
Thank you. How's
did
it going,
I butcher
Frank,
your
my
name?
friend?
Tell me, did I butcher your name?
A little bit. Yeah, like so we were just talking about this. There's two ways to say it. You could say the Anglo-Saxon way, which is Baliski, or the traditional kind of European way, which is Balewski. So
I got it. Yeah, I got tripped up there because I've been since I've known him. I thought it was Baliski, and then I just asked him what it was, and I even spelled it out like Balewski. But I mean, I did my best. Sorry, bro.
No, that's cool, man.
To tell a little bit about my friend Jason here. First of all, he is a 16-year veteran of the beverage alcohol industry, which means he's very good at drinking. No, it just means he knows a lot about drinks, which is very
which means you got to be good at drinking.
Yes, that is true, right? And it's very in tune with what we're talking about today. We'll get to that. He's also an extremely well-established real estate broker, and he's an entrepreneur, of course, and he is a very good and enthusiastic outdoorsman is what you are. Did I say anything wrong there, Jason?
No, that's pretty much me. Pretty simple. I like wine, real estate, being financially free, and getting outside.
And shooting guns,
going fishing, going camping. Yeah.
It's just like us. I love it.
Just like a good old boy.
Good old boy. Jay, man, like, how have you been? How's it going? Like, just what's good? You look so relaxed right now. I love it.
I am relaxed. Yeah, because I finally can have a long discussion with you because they got us all fucking locked down now, right? So when was the last time I seen you?
Oh my gosh, it's been since September since you saw me.
Yeah,
and that's when we moved into
lockdown 2, lockdown 3. I don't know.
I don't know. It was like 3.0 probably at that time, and
it
was at the time when like I thought that things were getting better because around my birthday, that's when they released they said you could have 50 people. And then after Cece's birthday, it just went back to the shits. And we're like, all right, oh, that's great.
They tease us. They tease
us.
Stupid. And they pull it back.
Like,
I have a bunch of friends that are barbers and work in the salons. They're getting hammered right now. I got to give a shout out to those guys because they got the worst. Like, there's a lot of people that have it worse, but
yeah.
What's that?
I was saying, I think them and dancers or like
gym I know some folks own dance rooms and gyms and stuff, and they dangle the carrot, right? They say you guys can open. Oh, sorry, can't do it. And it's like, wow,
it's the absolute worst. And it's just like these people, the livelihoods are just getting destroyed. Like, I'm fortunate enough where I've been able to work. You've been booming, but like other than that, it's just like, oof, it's the worst. Very, very, very bad. But it is what it is, and I don't want to be all sad. So let's just cut that out for a second. I'm just joking.
No. But that actually, let's parlay into that. So, we're talking about things that are open, that aren't open, right? And that kind of ties into the topic of this week, which is Vino.
Vino,
wines and spirits.
Vino.
Yeah.
So everybody grab your drinks. Now, wait. That's a rule. Doesn't matter where you are when you're listening to. Just go grab a drink right now. So you can listen to the podcast. You can put me on pause if you want, but you got to have a drink for this episode. Come on.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. So, right. So Vino and wines and spirits is essential, right? You can drink that while other people, which we kind of think of as, essential. Like, we all need grooming stuff like that. We don't need to drink, right? But what comes first, right? It's usually the dollar.
I was just going to say it's the dollar.
Yeah, it's usually the dollar. Because it's run by the LSPO, which is government agency, which of course, that's where I worked for the last 16 years. So if you want any juicy details on some LSBO stories, I think I could drop a couple gems.
What kind of juicy detail? I don't. Okay, hold that thought then. Hold that thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll circle back to that.
So everybody, just so you know, because I really am excited about talking about alcohol. First of all, I have a drink right here. It's not wine, but it is my brown truth serum. This week, as I say, we are talking vino, and Jay, we're gonna break this up into three, I think, simple topics.
Cool.
One, we're gonna go into just types of wine. So what?
Yes.
And also, what makes it vintage or special? Because I have a question about that.
Yes.
That I don't understand. So we're gonna talk about what types of wine and what makes it vintage or special.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go into a very simple question: white or red.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, actually white or red, and I'm gonna throw in port just because.
Yeah.
And then lastly,
I could throw in a couple other things there too.
Oh, please see that this is how basic my knowledge is. And the last we're gonna say, do you think wine and spirits automatically yell sophisticated or pompous? But I'll set that one up. I'll shed a little more light on
I
that.
love that question.
Perfect. I'm happy to. I always like to throw a little question that's going to be a little like set people back. So Jay, honestly, you're the professional here. I know like maybe 3 types of wine. Hit me. Give us the basics. Like what types of wine? What makes wine wine? Like what are the types out there?
So if you are a customer coming into the LSBO, we get a lot of folks that don't know how to drink. Like seriously, they don't know how to drink because they've never had alcohol before. They come from certain backgrounds and we have certain religions where alcohol is just taboo. So they're just curious about it. So you have folks like that, and you have folks that have the questions that you have, that like, what is a good wine? If I'm having gas or just having, just trying it out myself, where do I start?
Or types of food you eat it with. Like, these rules. A
little bit, depending on the wine, right? So the most basic wine that you could start with is either like a sparkling wine or a flavored wine. Just throw some names there, like wild vines, right? When you're a young kid, you might have got that 2-liter Rockaberry and just smashed it to your face, right, in the park because it tasted like grape juice, right? So you usually start off with something a little bit on the sweeter side until your palate recognizes that I don't really need all this sugar, and you start going drier and drier and drier. Also,
by all palate, do you mean like age?
No, just like your general taste, right? So like after a while, like if you sit and drink 3 cans of Coke in one sitting, you eventually get us like, I can't drink this anymore, right?
Yeah.
So then you want, you go to Diet Coke, and then you just, as you get older, you switch to like things that are like sparkling waters and things like that. That's where you see like a lot of White Claws come up, those type of beverages, because we're getting to kind of a sugar-free society, I guess, which is a good thing because sugar is not really entirely good for you in large amounts. So in the general sense of someone starting with wine, they don't know anything about it. They tend to gravitate to like a sweeter wine, and then they progress into something a little bit drier. So of course you have the reds and the whites. They both have sweet and dry.
Wait, there's dry whites?
There is dry whites.
Like I always thought whites were just sweet in general. See, this is how much I know.
Yeah, no, like the majority of like classic white wines are inherently dry.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like French wines, dry. German wines, super sweet. That's their style. I mean, every kind of country and region has their style of wine because of the climate and the geographic terroirs, where they are near the ocean, flatlands, things like that, that change the taste of the grape, which means that the wine has to be made a certain way. So you have your noble varietals. So Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon. You have Pinot Noirs, Pinot Blancs, Rieslings. You have Shiraz.
I know Shiraz is my favorite.
Yeah, you have Shiraz. Like for the reds, it's Cab, Merlot, Shiraz, Carmenères, Malbecs. I'm missing a few there, but those are really kind of the staples there too, like red Zinfandels. And then on the whites,
I only see like mostly at the LCBO at least for the reds, I see Shiraz, Cab Sauvs, Pinots,
Yep.
and I think those are three that I see most of the time. I don't see Merlot as much, but maybe that's because I'm not looking for them. I don't know.
That is true. Now, for me,
Oh, he's smiling. He's smiling.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because this is when you talk about is wine pretentious. It can be, yes, and I love that question because.
Oh no! Oh, don't jump to the question yet.
Okay.
You gotta wait till the category comes up.
Okay, so, but anyways, yeah. So we'll talk about Merlot at that time because all the wine drinkers listen to this, we have an opinion about Merlot. But yeah, the reason why you see a lot of cabs and a lot of Shirazes is because that's what the general public know, like yourself. So they purchase it. So the LCBO stocks it a lot, and they're good wines too. Like, so you can have a cab from Chile, and you can have a cab from France, and you can have a cab from Ontario. They all taste entirely differently, right? Mm-hmm. But it's the same type of grape.
But is there a similar? So when you say Shiraz, I always thought that Shirazes are typically sweet, for example, or Cab Sauvs were typically a little drier. And these aren't facts. This is just what I thought. Sorry.
Okay.
Do these types of wines have a common element to them? Like they all have a specific type of grape or amount of, I don't know, whatever, or like what makes a Cab Sauv a Cab Sauv or a Shiraz?
So that is the noble varietal. So when I mean noble varietal, I mean the type of grape. So Cabernet Sauvignon is a type of grape. Merlot is a type of grape. Shiraz type of grape.
Oh,
Chardonnay,
really?
Yeah, Chardonnay is a type of grape.
Oh.
Riesling, type of grape. Gewürztraminer, delicious type of grape.
Delicious.
Sauvignon Blanc type of grape, and they all have their different characteristics. So, all of the red wines are made red because the skin of the grape is red. When they ferment the wines and make the wine, they leave the skins in, which dye the wine and give it that color.
Yeah,
and give it that tannic taste to it, that drying taste. If you're drinking dry wine, like when you have tea, it kind of dries you out. A lot of white wines are made with red grapes.
What?
Yes, but so what they do is when they press the grape, the juice comes out, but then they take the skins and they discard them, or they use them for other purposes.
Isn't the juice red?
No, if you take a red grape and you cut it open, that's a white meat in there.
Yeah, but I guess I just always thought, okay, well, I might sound dumb, but I 100,000% that white wine was like made from like green grapes or something. Like I didn't think it was made from red grapes at all.
Yeah, so there are some wines that are made with green grapes, but some are also made with white.
Wow.
Yeah, white meats in them. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's news for everybody out there, or maybe just for me because I'm a noob, I guess. So then, so then I go to the LCBO. Yes. And I'm like, okay, I want it. So I think with age and all that stuff, you do graduate. So first you go in when you're young, you're just like, oh, just grab the cheapest thing you can find on the shelf. You just go anywhere. And then you're like, all right, let me go check out the vintage section. Like when you're younger, you may not go there because it's all like nice wood paneling and lighting, and there's someone always lurking around there. So you're like, all right, I don't need to go there. But you go there, you're like, okay, the bottles are like, $30 to whatever, right? Like on the wall. This is not the case. So on the wall is like, let's say $26, $30, give or take. What makes a vintage? And the reason why I ask that is because I would think that, a vintage is a wine that's aged older. But I've gone and I see vintages that are like 2020, 2019. And I'm just like, I thought it's supposed to be older. Like, how is just like 1 or 2 years vintage versus a bottle of wine that's like, I don't know, 2002 or 2008 or whatever?
Yes. So in the LCBO specifically, that's how they categorize large producers to small producers. So everything outside of that vintage section is what they call general list, which means it's a large producer or a conglomerate of wineries together that have multiple different vineyards that can churn out enough wine for the general public to have that many bottles on the shelf.
Okay.
For the vintage products, they're more exclusive because they're more boutique wine estates and vineyards that they
Oh,
can't pump out so many bottles.
so it has
So it's
nothing to do with the age at all.
it can be, of course. So those ones there that are out in generalist, there's always, of course, amount of care that the winemaker makes to have, you know, a good quality product, but
Yeah.
it's more mass produced, or they just have so much of it that they can mass produce it kind of
Yeah.
in a quick.
And are those like lower quality grapes or just kind of standard grapes? Like,
They're kind of the standard grapes there too. So in vintages, you'll either have like a lot more old vines, or like, as I mentioned, select smaller vineyards that can't make so many bottles. So they have a limited release. So the vintage would be, you know, 2017, 2017, 400 bottles only for the world or something like that.
okay.
And then, yes, you can have wines in vintages that are 2020 and 2019. Those are usually the wines where they don't really care to age it that long and say, oh, it's good now, good to drink now, right? It's usually fairly priced.
Yeah.
And they push it out in through the vintage channel. But in vintages, you'll see wines that are more, a little bit older, usually about 4 years or so older.
Yeah.
And those ones, they are usually from a better quality grape, like better quality vineyard. They have a little bit more care in the winemaking process. So those ones can be laid down and aged far more robustly than something in the generalist section, which means that, the generalist section, you can lay those wines down, but I wouldn't lay them down for 15, 20 years like a vintage wine.
No, you're talking about months or just a few years?
A year, you could do a year or two. Yeah,
Because that's the other thing.
if
Like,
it's
I didn't know
stored
that.
correctly.
I didn't know that some wines. I guess I always thought, oh, it's wine. You can buy it and just put it away, and you're good to go. But
Yep.
no, some of them go bad, right? Like some you're supposed to drink sooner than later.
Yes. Yeah. So like the cheaper ones that are, you know, below a certain price point, don't want to name any specific ones, but usually if you're like a standard cab that's less than $14
Yeah.
per se, you should drink that within 2 years max.
Okay.
A year to 2 years.
Yeah.
If you store it correctly, meaning you don't have it in heat, you don't have it in sun, you don't have it in anywhere where there's vibration, like a cellar or a closet, then it will last a little bit longer. That's why when I see folks store wine in the kitchen, it kills me, because like that is the worst place to store wine.
Light right there, and
Light,
from the stove.
you're cooking, everyone's moving around.
You're supposed to have a wine fridge if you don't have a cellar.
You should have a wine fridge, yes, but still that wine fridge has the vibration from you walking around.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not like an aging wine. That's a wine chiller. Right?
Yeah.
If you had so in my old house, I didn't have a cellar. So I put it underneath the vanity sink in the downstairs bathroom. It was dark. We never used it. And it was chilly because it was in near the lower levels. And
yeah,
that was good enough for me. Right. You don't have to get too fancy with wine cellars.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's with the hype. Like especially when you see the houses where they have these grand old.
Oh yeah, then you can afford a beautiful wine cellar.
Like, I have a boy. He lives in Milton, and I remember I went to his house and I saw his wine cellar. He just bought this house, and in the basement, it's a cellar, but the door to the cellar has a glass on the front, and it's racks refrigerated wine. So I'm like. Nice. I don't think I would ever have enough wine to even fill the door, let alone the cellar itself.
Oh, you're small thinking right now, man.
but I'm like, I saw it. I'm like, I want to have one day. I have to have one without a doubt. Yeah. Right now, I have a little mini fridge, like a little baby.
Me too.
But
Me too.
I'm working my way up. Give me time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I know. Okay, so vintage has not necessarily. It is not tied to the age. It is simply the type of grape and the batch size. If it's like
it's usually more so for LCBO specifically, it's batch size, tied with the age of the wine.
That's what I was going to ask. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you go out to the international market and you use that word vintage, then they're talking about the specific year on the wine.
Okay.
So
and that's where the date actually does matter.
That's where the date does. Yeah. So it was, vintage 2000, 2001.
Let me guess. Does the international market consider Canada's vintage as garbage? Like they're like, that's not vintage. That's...
No, because they step it up. They use the classics collection. So in vintages, if they want to appeal to a higher clientele, the folks that can't afford, a couple $100 a bottle, maybe $1,000 a bottle plus, they will go to classics catalog, which comes out usually once a year, and they have a lot of Bordeaux futures in there. Which a lot of people, it's kind of like stocks or wine investing, the Bordeaux futures. Like, is this vintage going to be good? And can I sell it at auction later on? And they buy case lots and whatnot. If you can't get it through the classics collection, you do go private ordering directly through the wine agent, which is either through the SBO or direct, depending.
Yeah, I've never reached that level. The most I've spent on a bottle is like $140 or something like that. Nothing crazy, but I would like to one day be able to just go and say, I want this $1,000 bottle just because, and just like pop it with some special people and be like, okay, this tastes the exact same as everything else, but it's
one benefit. Oh man, one benefit, and this is where I'm going to take a jab at the SBO. One benefit is that we used to be able to have a lot of fun there, right? It was really good community. Everyone was kind of together. But then, of course, when the government comes in and they say, you got to do this, got to do that, from like a 1,000-yard top view down, they don't really know how the stores act. So the SBO in general is like, there's head office, there's warehouse, there's stores. They all kind of act independently. They try to work together, but they usually blame one each other. That's what's kind of inherent problem with the LCBO on the inside. So at the store level, we used to be able to go to wine tastings freely because it's product knowledge and we want to know what these wines taste like. So, and then later on they crack down and say, oh, you can't go to wine tastings because you may favor a wine. But then this is the thing with government. You try and tell them, how am I supposed to sell your product if I don't know what it is? Yeah. Right. And say, oh, you may like this one, but I also might hate it. Right. So, and that's what it kills me. It's like, see, it's
they just took the fun completely out of it.
Yeah. And it's like, they totally don't get the point. How am I going to be effective in my job if I don't know what I'm doing? Right. So
it's funny because I'm sure there's some people who would abuse and say, oh yeah, I'm going for a wine tasting. They're just going to go have fun.
Yes.
Whatever.
And that's usually what happened. There were a couple of big shots that went and they would just get, licked.
Trash.
And that's kind of the fun thing about going to the wine tasting is that you're not supposed to really get licked, but everybody gets licked. Right. And they have good food. Good music. Yeah. So that goes back to, you're talking about you bought $100 bottle of wine. I think the most expensive wine I've ever had was north of like in the high 300s. And that's definitely not one of the most expensive bottles out there. But I had it at the Profile Wine Tasting, which was at the Liberty Grand. A very, very nice event.
That's a nice venue.
It is a very nice venue. Profile, they had a really good wine tasting. Of course, and this is the thing about lockdown. We can't have these wine tastings. We can't go out. We can't even get together and have a glass.
I know.
Right? So going back to the good old days when we could go to wine tastings, the wine was called Le Dôme. It was French. It was delicious. And I remember that night specifically because they had like great hors d'oeuvres and it was like a beautiful summer night. They had a Chardonnay, and for the life of me, I could not remember the name. I had a sip of that and it literally buckled my knees right there at the table. Because for you, I'm telling you, right?
No, it didn't. Get out of here.
You would think that, it's just a white wine. Dude, it was straight butter. Straight butter.
Buckled your knees. Are you sure you just were drunk?
No. It could be a little bit that, but see, that was the fun with it. It's like, because with a Chardonnay, if you have a really good Chardonnay, it's buttery, it's creamy, like eating a bag of popcorn that you dumped a punch of butter on it in the theater, like that. When I mean butter, like butter, but mixed with, baked fruits and, like the apple, you get a little bit of citrus. It's so good. When have you ever barbecued a peach on the barbecue, how much it changes the flavor? Oh man. So like doing something like that. So that Chardonnay
but you don't know the name of it.
I forget. I wrote it down. It's actually in my notes somewhere. I have it in my notes. I have to
find it.
I just have to find it. Cause and that's the thing. When you go wine tasting, you take notes, right? So when you get
I've never been wine tasting before. Oh, sorry. That's a lie. Sorry. I host wine tasting parties, but I've never
Yeah,
been to an official
like a formal wine tasting,
tasting
right?
formal thing in like Niagara or something.
Yeah, so like the formal wine tastings that go on through, Toronto, it'd be like the conglomeration of California. All California wineries go to um where did we go? We go to the Fort York. And they have a couple ballrooms rented, and it's all California wines, everything California. Or it would be like profile wine tasting, which is just the wine agent, and they have their portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Or it'd be Chile is at the ROM. No, they're at the
I like Chilean
AGO.
wines.
Chile's at the AGO, great time. Um, PMA, one of the best wine tastings I've ever been to. It was a wine and spirits tasting. I got to meet the master distiller of Appleton's.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. I met her, really nice lady. And that was at the Toronto Hunt Club right on the bluffs.
Nice.
Yeah. She's a wonderful lady. That the girl, I don't know if she's still that master distiller at Appleton's. She makes really good stuff.
That would be a tough job being master distiller. Like you have to have the
everything.
every single time.
Yeah, and that's what kind of the buzz was. So like with wine, it can be flexible, it can move. A cab from just say Castillo de Diablo, they have cabs. So you have 2018, 2019, 2021. Same cab, same vineyard, different climates of the different year. So it'll change, it'll move, it'll dance, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we call a vertical. So the same wine, same vintage, same vinter, different years. Mm-hmm. But with spirits, it has to be the same all the time, right? With Scotch, with whiskey, with rum. So that,
exact same. And people will know the difference too.
Yeah. Your customers will freak out. So if they have a bit of a more of a challenging job because it has to be bang on.
So then go to the next topic now. This is a nice, very simple question. White or red? What is your preference?
That's a very good question.
The fact that you have to think about it is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say white.
Really?
Because I started drinking white. So my dad is German, even though I have the Polish last name, which is a long story. We can kind of go into that later. So he liked German wines, which are white. The thing with German wines, they only make white wines, sweet white wines, because of their climate, which is kind of like ours, is cold. White wines are more conducive to bearing the harsh cold winters than a red grape. So that's why that's why Ontario has spectacular white wines. Our reds, in general, are kind of hit and miss. You have some really spectacular ones. Some years you have some really shit wines too, right? There's a lot of times where we have just unexpected frosts, and then the wineries, they have to make outdoor fire pits or like spray water on the vines or have fans going so it doesn't frost. It's a lot of work for them.
Oh wow.
So in German efficiency, say, you know what, that's too much work. Forget the reds, whites only, and just crushed it with whites.
Really?
Yeah. So I started with whites, and you can, for me, I could probably drink a whole bottle of white. With the red, it's a little bit more difficult, right? Because it's heavier.
That's funny.
It's better for you, right? It's better.
When I was younger, I didn't like wine, and then it was when I was 19. My then girlfriend, their family would go through bottles every night at dinner. Every night, it was their thing. Every night they just bottled bottles.
Reds or whites?
Reds.
Okay.
So then that's when I started.
What was their background again? Sorry. Were they Italian? Because it's just a dinner thing.
No, this was in Quebec.
Oh, okay. Maybe
but their background was maybe German. It was like Wagner.
Interesting.
Was the last name, I guess.
Oh yeah, that sounds German. Yeah. No, they like the reds.
But yeah, they're all reds, and I didn't like wine at the time, so I was just like kind of forcing it down just to be a good champ. But then it really developed, and now I love red. I would drink white, mind you, I'll drink anything to be honest. But I can drink a bottle of wine to myself, no issues, just no problems. Cool. And it's a nice smooth drunk. I would say it is 100% my favorite drunk out of all alcohol.
Red.
Sure. No, red. Just like wine in general.
Okay.
Specifically, yes, red. I think it's just so smooth. It creeps up on you. It's easy to drink, no problems. Recently, my Cece's mom, she puts ice cubes in her wine, and I
Mm-hmm.
started doing it, and I'm like,
Oh
oh man,
no.
it's even easier to drink now.
Oh man, you guys are killing it.
I know you're watering it down and stuff. I don't do it
Yeah,
all the time, but if it's like a cheaper wine, I'll put ice in it. I'm like, no problem, just go at it. But no, I'm
man.
definitely a red guy, 100%.
Yeah, reds. Yeah, you know what? Putting ice cubes in the wines too, like on a hot summer day, if you have like that's where sangrias came from, right? If like you have like a cheapo wine, so if you have wine that you've drank 3 days ago and it's starting to kind of not really taste fresh, throw ice cubes in it, go outside, hit it with some sparkling. Pff, great, man.
So are you against sangrias then? Because you're technically ruining their wine.
No, because sangria is it's like a cocktail, right? But sangria
Yeah.
is nice because they add more booze to it.
Ah, that's
Right?
true. True.
It's the
Wait,
blend.
wait. What? No, isn't just wine and
It's wine, fruit, rum. Sometimes they add rum, sometimes they add tequila. It's usually brandy. Add to it. Yeah, a little bit of this and that.
I'm learning so much today.
Yeah, there was a
Wow.
place on College that had killer sangrias. Right on the corner there is like a two-story restaurant. I forget the name of it.
A college.
On College, yeah.
I know what you're talking about. It's on the south part of college.
Yep, South Park, right on the corner there. It's like a
And
pointy building.
it's an open balcony kind of. Like they
Yes,
have a
yeah.
I know
Their
what you're talking about.
sangrias bomb.
I forget the name
Bomb.
though. I think the first
Yeah.
sangria I had was at Moxie's.
Okay.
No, wait, Moxie's or Jack Astor's, one of the two.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Sangria
no,
is deadly, man,
this is
because you
bomb.
can smash it and it's like, oh, it's nothing, and then you're like, ooh,
And you're done and you're on the floor and
you're
you
done.
wake up with
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah.
What about ports? Because
Uh,
ports it's wine with brandy or
yeah, or sherry. No, not really sherry. It's usually brandy. Yeah, so ports, the idea of a port was when the sailors were going from port out to sea, the wine would spoil, so they'd hit it with some booze to keep it. And that's how port came from, right?
That's
And
hilarious.
bless the Portuguese, because I guess that's where it came from. Because most really good wine ports are from Portugal.
Yeah.
Porto, that's the name, right? So it's a thicker, more of a dessert aperitif, like digestif aperitif.
Mhm.
You kind of sip on it, but yeah, if you drink too much of that, it creeps up on you too because it's thick.
I really like
Right.
port.
Yeah,
For my
on a
I think it's for
cool
my
fall
birthday or
day.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Someone got me like a sample kit.
Yep.
And I didn't really know what it was, so I let it sit for a little bit, and then finally when I opened it, I was tasting them. I'm like, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
because I love my spirits as well. Like I love brandy,
Yes.
whiskey, and everything. So
Yeah.
I was like, this is like the combination of the best of two worlds. This is amazing.
Mhm.
But you're right. It is heavy. Like it's pretty potent, and it's not something you just take down the hatch, right?
No, and the beauty about port is because it's still wine. It ages and it changes flavor. So when you have, a 25-year, so yeah, there was a run at the LSBO for a bit that the 10-year, I think it was Taylor Flaggates, were selling better than the 20 years because it was the climate 20 years ago wasn't as good as the climate 10 years ago, and it just tasted better, and they were flying off the shelves for I think it's for like good 24 months.
Yeah,
that kind of trend came, and that's the thing too. Like, so that's when you go back to vintages is, when were the really good years? When I was at the board, it was like anything that usually ended in a 97, 2007.
Really? Why?
I think it had something to do with El Nino or something. El Nino. Remember that's hurricane, that weather swell?
No.
Yeah, El Nino and El Nina changed up like the tropical weather patterns and something about that. Anyways, it made really crappy wines one year and spectacular wines the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Ontario too, right? If we have a really cool, easy winter, kind of cool, kind of temperate summer that's not really like, oh man, it's too hot, our wines will be really good.
Do we actually compare well in the world? Like
we've
Ontario?
we've won some awards. Yeah, there are. I've had some, like, if you go to a good steakhouse, you get a good bottle of wine. Like, off the top of my head, there's so many out there too, right? Like I like Creekside. I don't want to put any one specific on a spot too. There's so many that I do like.
It's okay. We have like one beer in Bulgaria and a couple all over the place, so I don't think anybody's going to come after you.
Yeah. Anyways, we do have good wines. right? But it's usually the whites are always very more consistent than the reds.
And that's because of our weather.
Our weather, yeah. So if you go to places where it's always hot or it's always temperate, like Chile, Argentina, they have pretty stable weather. The wines are always consistent. Australia, always hot.
Yeah,
they grow wines that like the hot, which is Shiraz. But you can grow Syrah, same grape, called differently in France, and taste different.
I don't know what it is, but I think it's either Chile or South Africa. I like those are my two favorite
South
wines.
African wines. I like South African wines too.
I just always have great times. I can't even tell you a name of a specific one. I just know that I always have a good time with those ones.
Do you notice when you drink South African wines? No, actually, I'm going to put you in your head. I'm going to inception this into your brain. When you drink a South African wine, smell if you can, like smell the wine, nose it, and see if you can pick up any notes of iodine. Iodine, yeah. So South African vines for the many years had a type of fungus.
Okay.
That kind of changed the flavor of the wine. It gave it a kind of an iodine characteristic to it. So sometimes you can pick it up, or if you smell the South African wine, you're like, why does it smell like that? Yeah, it's
because of that
fungus. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Sometimes fungus makes really good wine, like botrytis, make it excellent dessert wine.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a rotten grape, and they squeeze it and they press and ferment it. Boom, so good,
instantly good.
Yeah,
I feel like we got to get in the grape business there. I feel like it's too much work.
it is. It is a lot of work.
Okay, so let's get to your question that you've been dying to talk about.
Yeah.
So first of all, the question is, do you think wine and spirits automatically yell sophisticated or pompous? Now, the reason why I thought of this question is mainly because I remember growing up, obviously when you're like, high school, college, university, you're all about, drinking beers, coolers, whatever you can grab, right?
Yeah.
Because, you're poor, you're whatever, you're just whatever. And whenever I'm at a party, I remember I would see mostly girls, they'll bust out a bottle of wine. I'm like, what are you trying to say here? Like, just grab a beer or a tequila shot. Like, what are you drinking wine for? Like, you're gonna walk around with that delicate glass all the time throughout this party.
But now we do.
And then as you grow up, like you literally transition, and it's like,
you're
like, no, I want that wine. Especially now if you go to a restaurant, you get the wine. And I actually include spirits as well because again, just naturally, I don't know what it is about me, but if I see someone go to the bar and ask for a, Scotch on the rocks or a Courvoisier just straight up, or just something that's not just the typical, beer or shot, I automatically think, oh, maybe they're a little bit more, sophisticated or something like that, or they have a fine taste or taste for the finer things. Do you think this is a myth or it's a real thing, or some people do it just because they want to act like they're special, but really it's like, no, you want a beer, but you're going to order that wine just because?
I see what you're saying. Okay. It's 50-50 in that regard. So 50-50 people that are trying to pretend and trying to be like the people that know exactly what the fuck they're talking about.
Okay.
Right. So for me, I am a self-proclaimed enophile, meaning wine snob. So I will be that guy that'll be like, oh, you're drinking that? Right? You know what I mean? Because I know you just ordered that because you don't know what you're talking about. Right? So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So like, what did you think I was talking about?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, if someone grabbed wine, do they actually know what they're talking about, or are they trying to front? Right.
Okay.
So I think it's 50-50. So some people know what they're talking about, and enjoy specific wine. Like, what's your favorite rum off the top of your head?
I'd have to say either Captain Morgan or Kraken, one of those two. Okay. I know it's very basic, but I like. Oh, sorry. Scratch that. Actually, Baron Samedi is my favorite rum.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
Yes, I've had it for a while. But that is my favorite.
You like the spiced rums.
I love spiced rums. Love spiced rums.
Yeah. Cool. Do you ever hit that with Dr. Pepper? Try it.
So I would say no with Baron Samedi. I have had Dr. Pepper as the mixer before.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really like it because I really like Dr. Pepper on its own. Like, that's my favorite pop.
Yeah.
But when I mix it with the drink, like I feel like the Dr. Pepper taste isn't very good as an accent.
Yep.
Whereas like Coke, it's so like crisp, like it can literally complement anything.
Yeah.
Whereas Dr. Pepper has an actual like, I feel like it has a taste to it. I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, like Bear Insanity, I remember because I first found it when the first time I had Kraken was when I was in London with my cousin,
Okay.
and I almost
Release the
I
Kraken.
almost hit the floor. Like, oh, it just took me
Yeah.
right out.
It'll smash you.
Captain Morgan, of course, I think I like it just because from my childhood, like that's like one of the first rums
Yeah.
I have, right? Other than like Bacardi.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Bear Insanity, something about it, I just liked how it was really spicy, it was darker, and it just kind of I just and I'm not gonna lie, the appeal of it, like kind of like the labels do actually speak volumes.
Yeah.
Kind of talk to me, but either way, Bear Insanity, I
We like that.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Spice rums are good. Yeah. Yeah. I'm right with you on that page too, because some folks, they don't like spice rums and just like, oh, it's an acquired taste, or it's just like, why do you like spice rum? But like, if you have really good spice rum, like there's an Austrian one, Stroh's 54, you might like that too. It usually comes out only at Christmas time. And it's in a 700 or even a 500 mil. It's a smaller, still stubby bottle, but it's just like that. But it's like no artificial flavor. It's like pure infused spice in the rum. It's delicious. Yeah, it's delicious. It's like when you open up, it's like fruitcake. Like it's so many different spices.
Oh, nice, very nice.
It's 54%, so it's like Baron Samedi and Krakens. So it's hot on that. But yeah, going back to that, like so someone may go to the bar and order Baron Samedi because it's like, I like that taste. I like this. Someone might be like, I guess that's booze. It's subjective, and that's the beautiful thing about beverage alcohol is it creates conversation. It creates social interaction, right? So it's like, oh, do you like that because you grew up on it, or is it just because you want to get shit faced because it seems cheap to me? Because actually right now I'm drinking the Martel VSOP because I prefer that over the Hennessy and Courvoisier. But does that make me pretentious? Maybe not. That's my taste.
No, I think it's I think the pretentious part of it is situational. So if you're home and you like a specific drink and you buy your specific drink, that's not pretentious. That's just you have a taste, like you have a favorite. But to your point, if someone goes, I think it goes in two ways. If someone goes to a bar and they just order, let's say they're with the guys and they order Scotch on the rocks.
Yep.
They don't drink Scotch on the rocks on their own. They just think that that's what they should order in front of the guys. That's one thing, right? Or if they go and they order, they say, "What's the most expensive bottle of rum you have here?" or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, you're just trying to show off. But I would appreciate someone who just says, "Hey, like I like the people who are like, oh, give me a vodka soda, but for the vodka, give me whatever. I want Ciroc, not Grey Goose, or I want whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's because they have a specific type of rum, vodka, whatever they like, which I can definitely appreciate because, like you said, some people have, they just have their own taste, right?
Yeah.
And for me, like I would not, in no ways do I have like favorites for when it comes to like Scotch, whiskey, brandy, like or the liquors or anything. I'm pretty open to all of them, to be honest. Yeah. But when it comes to rum, I feel like with rum is one of the things I taste the most. Like, like for example, I have a bottle downstairs that has Truth Serum on it. Is like really nice. And I put a cheap rum in there just because it's usually a rum that I get as a gift, maybe, and the smell is just like
whatever.
I'm like I can really tell the smell of a rum. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I keep my nice bottle of rums, in the case or whatever it is, because I know that those are the ones that are smooth or have a characteristic that I do like about it. But I will never say that I am very much like in tune with every single piece of, bottle of alcohol that's out there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, right?
yeah. And that's the thing too with like the beverage alcohol industry. It kind of rubs off onto people, in that line of work too, because typically, spirits is more of a sophistication thing in like when we're talking about wines and high-end wines and things like that. Like when you go to for example, if you go to Niagara, the wine tasting, the wineries are beautiful, right?
Mhm.
And they cater to, of course, they cater to everybody, but they have the high end stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So the wealthy can, of course, indulge in more expensive libations, I guess you could say, right?
Of course.
And then, of course, that's what brings, I guess the layer of snootiness. If you're at that level, I'm drinking, Louis because I can. It's like, well, all right, you can.
But do you enjoy it though? Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so here's a question then. Before we go into, we might wrap it up soon. If someone came and gave you two glasses, okay, and let's say one is a glass of, they're both glasses of wine, same type of wine, as in Cab Sauv, Shiraz, whatever it is.
Yeah.
One is a $14 bottle, and
Yep.
one is a $400 bottle.
Yes.
Will you confidently be able to say that you can tell the difference between them if you tasted them both?
Me personally, probably, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Just because I've been formally trained.
Mm.
And we never actually talked about that. So so there's the inertial wine. There's a company called iWeg, which is a Canadian company. They administer the WSET Wine and Education Spirits Trust, which is a UK kind of certification.
Okay.
That takes the fun out of drinking wine, because you're basically analyzing it, and that's where the wine tasters,
the
folks that do
Independent
tasting notes.
Wine Education Guild.
Yeah, Independent Wine Education Guild.
Sounds like an underground, secret,
yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So they teach you to analyze wine in specific sequence.
Yeah.
So if you're analyzing those type of wines, then yeah, you would go through inherently that type of sequence. Like, okay, this is probably a cheaper wine, probably from here, and this one tastes a little bit better. It's more solid. It's probably from here, right? When I was
tell where it's from.
When I was deep into the course, I could tell a wine what country it's from. There are people that go into the higher levels. They can tell you exactly what region it's from, and that is amazing. Like a sommelier, amazing.
What?
Amazing. And that's the thing too, when we're talking about everybody's different. So everybody's palate is different. And that's why you may like a Merlot, I may not like Merlot. But that's what your tongue is designed, right? Like just everybody, like your fingerprint. So you like Baron Samedi, someone may not like Cap Morgan. But they're all different.
So then actually one of the last questions, so I lied before. Myth or not myth, is there a wine that you should eat with certain foods? Because like I'll go, and I like wine in general. That's just me. And if I'm having a steak, there is a 90 or 85% chance I'm going to have a glass of wine.
Yes.
But then when people are like, oh, you should have this kind of wine, I'm like, oh, does it really matter? Like, I just want, if I go to a restaurant, I'm most likely going to order a Shiraz.
Yeah.
But is there really a science to, you should have this wine with this food, like this with spaghetti, this with steak, this with chicken, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. There is some truth to that. So, for example, like Italian wines, they're a little bit more acidic. They match more well with like tomato sauces, which is kind of a national, like kind of a traditional dish, right? They make a lot of dishes with tomato sauces and things that are a little bit acidic. That can match with the whites as well. So if you have like Mediterranean dishes have like some citrus sprinkled onto it, like on a fish or something like that, you would have
like a lemon or something.
You'd have a wine that would match with that too. So if you're having a steak, you definitely want a red.
Okay.
But if you go from Cab to Shiraz to a Zin, no, it doesn't really matter. And that's your taste too, right? But don't really drink it with a white. You can.
The next time I go to a restaurant, someone asks me a white, I'm like, my boy Jay told me not to drink this, so thank you, but no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. No.
Can you give me a Scotch on the Rocks, the most expensive one you have?
Exactly.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap that up. That was dope. I learned more in the last 40 minutes about wine than I did in the last 33 years of my life.
I could go on and on.
Oh, I know you can. I know. You might actually have to do a part 2 and go into spirits, maybe.
Yeah, no, we definitely got to go into spirits for sure.
That's a big one. Like, but I can't talk much on spirits because my knowledge is very. I love them, but I don't educate myself. I can tell you my favorite drink is a Godfather, but other than that, like that's where it kind of ends for me, to be honest.
Yeah, spirits is fun. Spirits is fun.
But Jason, so I've informed you what you have to do. So with that said, we're about to jump into the bestest, the most favoritist, the absolutely most stellar-delic, hype, wicked, dope man segment of all podcasts. Joe Rogan ain't got shit on us. This is finally Spittin' in 5. That was perfect. Thank you so much. You just made my night. For those of you who do not know or are thinking, why were there a whole bunch of primates in these guys' rooms? Spin in 5 is quite simply a segment where I ask our guest or my co-host Zam a question or a situation or whatever it is of which has no relations to what we just discussed. Nothing at all. It is quite simply fun, random, and I try to catch them off guard. Why? Because that's what I do. Jay, are you ready for this week's Spin in 5?
Okay, got my drink.
You got a tough one because this week's Spin in 5 is actually a would you rather session.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm gonna spit these at you. You just gotta answer right away.
Oh,
I might delay and laugh on them or something, but you have to respond first thing that comes to mind. No thank you. Okay.
Okay. All right.
They're not crazy. They're not crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I'll let you know there are 11 questions.
Okay.
First one. Would you rather be slapped or spat on in public by your wife?
Slapped.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Simple question. Quantity or quality?
Quality.
Ooh, okay. Would you rather have 4 nipples or 4 toes?
4 toes.
Yeah, because I guess if you go to the beach and you have 4 nipples, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's weird, man. You hide them in the sand.
You're just always sandy from top to bottom. Always come on a beach.
Yeah.
Heinz or Frenchie's ketchup?
Oh, I don't like ketchup. I'll do Heinz.
What?
I don't like ketchup. I'm not a condiments guy.
Excuse me? You don't like ketchup?
Nah, man.
So when you go to McDonald's and you get French fries, what do you eat them with?
Sweet and sour sauce.
Actually, that's not fair for a question because I do the exact same thing.
It's delicious.
So fine. When you make French fries at home, what do you put on them?
Like ranch or whatever kind of dip. I'll do like hot mustard or something like that. But I'm not a big ketchup fan. If
you put ketchup on your hamburger?
No, I put barbecue sauce.
That changed our friendship a little bit. Okay, if you can have, what would you rather for your life? A rewind button or a pause button?
Rewind.
Rewind, eh?
Yeah. I would change up a whole bunch of shit.
You
made a lot of mistakes, man.
You got some
made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. Rewind for sure.
I think I guess rewind would be more better. I mean, pause is pretty good because if you get in a tight situation, you just pause and like dip out. Or you can pause and if you need money, just pause and go grab some money and come back or something like that.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, so that's a good question because if we're talking about entrepreneurship, right? So right now, the COVID's kind of got me in a tight spot. CRA, the tax man got me. Oh, they got me this year. So,
no.
So as an entrepreneur, it's it's if you're making money, you're paying taxes. So I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to pay them. So do you pause it and run away from your issues, or do you just, as an entrepreneur, do you just run through it and just embrace the challenge? And
I feel like in that case, rewind would be better.
Yeah. Like I love running into challenges, especially as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just forces you to think outside the box and persevere.
Nobody thinks outside the box anymore. That's why everybody's stuck. Got to squeeze. It has to be a little bit of pain.
Okay, fair enough. All right, dominatrix.
No pain, no gain.
Would you rather be a little late or too early?
I'm always late.
Are you?
I'm
Nice.
always late.
Would you rather have nosy or noisy neighbors?
Noisy. Pump that music.
You rather have noisy.
Yeah, all day long.
Thing with me is I do like my peace and quiet from time to time, but
I do. I love it too, but I don't want someone up in my business.
yeah,
That
someone's always come
irks
to
the
my
shit out of
door.
me.
That's true.
Fuck
Yeah, yeah.
that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Noisy. Okay. Would you rather go to a movie alone or a dinner alone?
Like in a theater?
Yes.
Movie.
I've done both. I've done movies multiple times. I love going to movies on my own.
Yeah.
I would say that I actually, I don't know if I can do a tie, but this is would you rather. So I guess I can't. So I guess I would say movie alone only because you're being entertained.
Yeah.
But I went to dinner on my own a few times and it's actually fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you just yourself in the meal.
You're exactly
In the
you're in
moment.
your own space. You're just and I like watching people. So I'm eating my food. I enjoy watching people watch me, thinking, "Oh, he's there by himself." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm very."
Both are good. Yeah, both are good.
Chill,
In that
right?
context, yeah. I
But
just love movies.
but movies, yeah, exactly.
Love movies.
Would you rather go on a cruise with your friends or your spouse? And you can answer that with the assumption that she will not listen to this podcast.
Yeah, but I heard. See, this thing. I heard cruises are terrible.
Let's go on the assumption that cruises are actually amazing.
Are they? They're amazing.
I've been on one and they're
That's
great.
a tough one. I'm really torn on this one. I really am because it's a different vibe either way. We'll say spouse.
All right, there you go. You took the safe route.
Yeah.
Would you rather be cheated on or kicked in the balls?
Kicked in the balls.
Oh, Heartbreak Hotel right there. I hear you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
That is it for Spittin' in 5 this week. Jay, you did pretty well. You knew your answers pretty accurately. I was a little scared. When I was choosing these, I was a little stumped. I'm like, damn, I wouldn't know what to say about this one. But first of all, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
You're a delight to speak with, and you're very knowledgeable. And I wish, honestly, I know you can go on for hours about this stuff. And maybe we'll do a part 2 or something, or have you on for another episode. But thank you so much for educating us. How about you tell the people where they can actually reach you?
Yeah, you can reach me on, of course, all social networks. Sir Jason is my Instagram and Twitter handle. More professional, my property consultant is my website, or you can find me under the same tag on Facebook if you want real estate related stuff, which I'm also just as knowledgeable on.
Just so everybody know, it is Jay who put me in my current house. So,
yeah, because you're smart. You bought when you're supposed to.
yes. So I have to thank this man.
Favors the bold.
There you go. Definitely for favorites. So I'm happy about that. Everybody, you already know where you can reach us. If you listen to this podcast, you already know, but you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube Music, every single streaming platform there is. We are on. You can hit us up on IG at A Coming of Age, the podcast. Like, comment, follow, DM us, do whatever you want. Any kind of interaction is always welcome. You can email us at acomingofage.thepodcast@gmail.com. And please, again, send us your feedback. Let us know if you have any input, output, whatever that means. Or if you want to give a suggestion for a topic, anything you want, message us. We love it. Jay, again, thank you so much for joining us. You're dope as hell. And hey, man, hopefully we can have a drink together soon once all this stuff is over.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Take it easy.